Welcome to episode 22 of the Warrior Pulse. Hey, it's spring break. It's St. Patrick's Day. That's why we've got our green on, and it's Casual Wednesday. It's a darn good day to have a podcast, and today I'm fortunate to have Brett Carpenter, the running backs football coach here at Webber International University. Brett's a hometown guy from Cooper City, Florida, so he's from the great state and from a little down south, and he's also from Webber International University. So, Brett, welcome to the podcast, and what are you doing to keep yourself busy during spring break?
During spring break, we're getting ready for spring practice that starts on Monday. So a lot of meetings, a lot of making sure all the parts are where they need to be. Just trying to stay organized for when those kids come back. We're ready to roll, man.
Is there a trepidation? Because I coach tennis,
Okay.
so we don't really get that like spring break thing. We kind of get like we're in the middle of stuff during spring break.
Yes, sir.
Is there a trepidation of when you send kids off for spring break that they're gonna come back different than what they left as?
Yeah, we tell them to try to stay in shape, but we've all been there for spring break, so kind of working out's in the back of our mind. So we hope they come back in the same shape when they left, but we all have a funny feeling that they won't. So.
Well, luckily as college kids, it's hard to lose too much in 1 week. Where did the love of football come from, and what did you play when you played football?
So the love of football came from when I was really young. I'd say a baby. My dad always, we were always watching football and been playing football since I was, 6, 7 years old, around there. And I played everything, growing up. And then once I got into high school, it was more D-line, O-line. But, the love of football's been there all my life pretty much. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
All right, keep it down. Favorite college team, favorite pro team?
Oh, Miami Hurricanes all day.
Okay.
Miami Dolphins all day.
So the U, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Gotta be the U. Are the Dolphins going to do anything? Is Tua the answer?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of pieces together. Even though we won 10 games this past season and make playoffs, it was rough. But going from a 3-win season to a 10-win season is a big turnaround.
Yeah.
And those guys are starting to buy into Coach Flores, and just like how our kids are going to start buying into Coach Pooch. And I feel like we're going to have a big turnaround in the fall as well.
That is a great tie-in to something I wanted to ask about. There has been a big transition on the campus of Webber with the fact that Coach Scott has left and it's now Pooch's baby. How has that transition been, and are there any things that you're looking forward to having Potocny as the coach?
The transition, in the beginning, trying to get everything in place, because the transition started early January. So we, in the middle of recruiting and, doing all this and trying to put Coach Pooch's, philosophies and how he wants to do things in place. So it was a little long days, a little chaotic in the beginning, but, everything's starting to smooth out. And I see the future extremely bright. I played for Pooch when I played here, and I know how when he was the DC, how he expected things, and now that the whole team's going to be under that, regime per se, I feel like the future's really bright for us, and I'm excited to go up to Lindsey Wilson and play them hard and kick their ass pretty much.
I like it. Yeah, I remember, for those that don't know, we're talking about the new head coach, Eric Potocny, who, if you know him, he's Pooch. So I remember him, and he kind of had this scary persona about him. Is that a persona, or is that the real man?
Scary? No. I don't think it's a scary persona. I think he's just very detail oriented. If it's why do anything if you're not going to do it right? And he just holds all of us to a certain standard, and so everybody's fearful of not reaching that standard. So I don't think it's him being scary or, but he just holds everybody to that standard, and, that's what he expects.
So you talked about playing for him. You graduated from here in 2017 with a sport business management degree. Was the goal to get into coaching, or was the goal to get into sport business management? And if it was to get into coaching, how have you used your degree for that?
So honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to use it for when I graduated. I I was like, okay, I want to stay in football, and coaching opportunities came up, and so I started off at Cooper City High School, where I went to school, and I was coaching there, and my degree came up because I was also like an associate AD per se, so I kind of helped the AD, with sports events and help set up and just make sure everything was going smoothly there. So that's kind of where my degree came in, and then coaching-wise, just being able to use what I learned from Dr. Farshman and Dr. Aaron and put it into that per se.
Yeah, the Dr. Farshman Aaron combination is a pretty good combo. I actually took my master's courses from both of them. So
Okay.
now you are the running backs coach, but you were a defensive line guy.
Yes, sir.
How do you use the knowledge of trying to tackle the guys that you're now coaching to help them break the line?
Just seeing it from a different perspective, seeing it from the defensive side of the ball, seeing like what to look for when a guy does a certain thing, because defense is all about reacting, and how to really set up a defender to where you can break a tackle and keep it going, but just bring the defensive mentality to offense a little bit and just give my insight on what to look for and stuff like that.
Well, in honor of you being the running backs coach, I actually went and dug up a few quotes from running backs. So
Okay.
I'm going to get your thoughts on this. This one came from Walter Payton. When you're good at something, you'll tell everyone. When you're great at something, they'll tell you. What mentality are you hoping to instill into your athletes so that they don't talk, they're talked about?
Well, I told my running backs this on the first day. I'm going to treat y'all like grown men. So, within reason, you're going to be able to say what you want to say, but at the same time, we're going to let, what we're doing between the white lines speak for itself. So, I just told them, hey, we're going to come in, we're going to work hard. It's, it's not going to be how it was in the previous years, and we're just, we're going to work. We're not going to come in here and just, sit around and not do anything. We're going to come in, and we're going to show people what we're all about. Anybody can talk about it, but who can be about it, pretty much.
One of my favorite athletes was Barry Sanders. And then I was listening to a podcast with Larry Fitzgerald, who was a great wide receiver for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of those athletes celebrated when they scored. They acted as if they had done it before.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, but I think I'm in the minority on this one.
Okay.
How do you feel about end zone celebrations, tackling celebrations? I'm of the opinion it's your job, it's what you're supposed to do. Why are we I don't high five Joyce when I leave for the day.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on celebrating? And I will go both ways on this one. I am not sold. That's my personal feeling.
I'm a little torn myself. Just the basic, for example, if a running back doesn't break any tackles and he gets an open lane and just scores, like, all right, you scored. But if he's like making a play, something out of nothing, and he does an extremely great play, then okay, you can celebrate a little bit because it's not normal for that to happen. Same thing being a defensive guy. If you make a tackle, you're supposed to make a tackle, but if you make a big hit, then it's a momentum builder. So yeah, you kind of like to get up and scream and yell and get all hype about that. So I'm a little torn about it.
So there is a time and a place for celebration. I can go with that. I'm just old school guy, like on a tennis court. Like we hit a service winner or an ace, and it's like, yeah, that's our job. We don't start dancing or doing anything. So I just kind of am curious. But you've been at Webber. You've had multiple jobs. So you are the running backs coach. But I was looking through your sheet, and you've worked at the Union, the weight room during the summertime, and maintenance also during the summertime. What do those jobs do to shape you as the person that you are today?
Well, those jobs showed me why I'm actually getting a degree. Yeah, they were just summer college jobs just to get cash in so I can pay the, rent, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was also good to see, this is why I'm actually getting a degree, and, really respect the people that work there that much more, doing what they do every day. But I did, I learned a lot from the Union, just talking to everybody, different people all the time, helping with my communication skills, and then working in the weight room, just fine-tuning, making sure everything's clean, the little details. And then maintenance was, the hard, heavy lifting, making sure that, all the rooms are good during summer for kids to come back in the fall. So that's about it.
it makes you appreciate. It makes you want to put your grocery cart away when you go to Publix. You know, you want to keep things clean, and that's the one thing I'll talk to you about and ask about, because you do have one of the larger teams. That management style that you guys have to do, and I talk to my players all the time. Like, if you close the gates, people are going to realize the gates are supposed to be closed. Mm-hmm. But it's on us if they see us leaving balls out and that kind of stuff. And I've heard administration, and I've heard coaches say, like, hey, don't leave this out. You're like, let's move this stuff. So being that you've worked in it, you're like, dude, don't, like, it's, put it away. Like, don't. Then you go to the rooms during the summer and you're like, people live like this? Like, I've been here for a long time, so I've seen the leftovers. Being the fact that you were here in 2016, you were the team captain, and in 2014, Webber won the conference championship. And for those that don't understand, winning the conference championship isn't our normal conference. It's spread out. You're playing games all over, basically all over the Southeast and some even the Midwest for the conference. So what was that experience like as a player winning the conference championship?
In the beginning of the season, we actually lost our first 3 games. So we started off 0-3. And, you know, we were like, oh, well, this ain't looking too hot. But, you know, the seniors and the older guys, because I was a sophomore that year, and the older guys really stepped up during that bye week. And then after that bye week, we just kind of, like, all met up, like, on our own, like a little whatever. And we were like, look, like, this ain't happening. And then just seeing the transition happen within days, really. The mindset, you know, coming in and working. And just, you know, we all started hanging out with each other outside of, you know, football and class and stuff, and, you know, partying and doing all that together instead of separately. There was no cliques, nothing like that on the team. Like, yeah, everybody had their friend group, but everybody hung out together. And just that transition in that probably helped us out the most. But that was a fun year. That was a really, really fun year. Just the memories made on that team, I'll never forget, ever.
And one of the things you talked about was when you found out you won the conference championship, you guys actually were on the way home from someplace else.
Yeah.
What was the exuberation and the talk and the chatter like on that bus on the way back?
So we actually went up to Newport News in Virginia, and it was a day game. It was a noon kickoff. Went up there, kicked their ass, and we're on the way back. And on the way back, Warner and Edward Waters were playing. And in order for us to win the conference, we needed Warner to lose. And, you know, of course, we're rooting for Edward Waters and everything. And, you know, on the bus, we couldn't pull up the stream because up in the mountains, you know, the service ain't that great. So we just were getting the live play-by-play. And then all of a sudden, we found out that Warner missed the field goal in overtime to tie it up. So that's how Edward Waters won, and we went crazy. Like, the buses had to pull over because the buses were shaking and rocking. Like, everybody was going crazy. And so, like, literally they had to pull over to a rest stop, and for like an hour the whole team was just like excited and everything. So like that trip took an extra hour to get home, but it was well worth it.
That's awesome. And those are things that you hold on to, those memories. Those are good things, and it's stuff you can talk about with your current players. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what's possible if you put in the work. Oh, yeah. You also talked about the Cali trip. Was that the Azusa Pacific trip?
Menlo.
Okay. Azusa Pacific was before, I guess. That was, you guys had gone out to a couple years before and played Azusa Pacific.
Before I got here.
So how was the Cali trip?
So the Cali trip was fresh off the bye week. That was, the first game after, we were 0-3. We were going out to Cali to play Menlo. And we left early. Coach Scott brought us out there, and we went to Alcatraz that Thursday and all that, kind of get used to the time change. So the Cali trip was fun just because, Florida boys don't get to go out to Cali often. They don't get to see Alcatraz. They don't get to, do any of that, really. So that was fun. And then, after that Thursday, Friday, everybody kind of locked back in and was like, all right, like, we actually came out here for a reason. And that Menlo game came down to the wire itself. We were still figuring each other out, figuring like who we are, 0-3, and that was just a fun game as well. Game coming down to the final seconds, defense on the field, and we ended up stopping them. But that was a good trip, and that really jump started that whole season.
So I always talk to kids and people about small college athletics. We hear the stories of like, Auburn, Alabama, and Auburn flies to Alabama on the charter, and they have Outback waiting for them on the plane, and it's a 45-minute flight. And you guys are getting pizzas and a bus, and if you're on a flight, it's at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you've left from the campus. And how do you explain to a athlete that we hear the Instagram stories and the Twitter stories that this experience is going to be a blast? How do you sell that to a kid? Because we see the glam, but we actually don't understand that these trips, they shape you for a lifetime.
Oh yeah. So how do we sell these kids on these trips?
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, the easy part is, hey, you're missing some class. You know, it's excused absences, but then they find out, like, because a lot of kids don't really travel like that. You know, in high school, you just travel 30 minutes by bus and then you're back the same day. But, you know, just being able to go with your friends, and you're going to be on a bus for, you know, however long it is. But, you know, you get to play cards, you get to, you know, chop it up, play dominoes, spades, you know, all these different games, and you really build a better bond. Then once you get to the hotel, yeah, we have our walkthroughs, we have our meetings, we have all that. But once we get our free time before bed checks, it's like, okay, like, you know, let's just hang out. Let's just relax before the day before a game or what so. And, you know, it's a fun time. It really is.
Yeah.
And best memories are made on away trips.
Oh, I think it's incredible to go travel, and I tried to always get my teams away from campus as much as possible, just because it's fun to see what else is out there.
Oh,
especially like you said, there's a lot of kids that don't travel. Like, it's crazy to me if you drove around this area, there's people that don't go to the beach, and it's like an hour and a half one way or the other.
Oh yeah.
And I remember going to Tulsa, Oklahoma one time, and we were at a restaurant, and the people were like, so is the ocean nice? I'm like, yeah, it is. It's really, I've never been. And it's like, what? Like, you're in America. You got four corners. Pick one and go.
Yeah.
But it's crazy and then in college, yeah, you're not playing the biggest athletics, but you're getting to see things that you probably never see.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in high school we did travel, fortunately, but yeah, it's weird how some kids have never been to the beach, or like, you know, you go to Arizona, for example, and they're like, what's the weather like, you know, in Florida, because we went to Arizona my junior year, and they were like, oh, what's Florida like, da da da, and it's like, you guys, you know, it's only like a 3-hour plane trip, you know, but it's a good time. And, you know, when we get recruits on campus, we're trying to sell that and tell our kids, like, not to worry, you know, especially when we used to fly. We had some kids that never flown before, and it's like, okay, hold on tight, I guess, and enjoy the ride. But no, it's a good time, and it's a great experience.
Yeah, taking off on a plane is awesome. I hate the landing. I've had to fly a lot when I was younger, and I don't mind the takeoff, but man, it's weird when you're decelerating. You shouldn't be decelerating. Last thing on kind of the Webber tie-in here is you went here, you've coached here. What's your best memories here? And you can hit me with whatever.
Oh man, best memories?
Yeah.
I got quite a few. Obviously, you know, winning the conference and all that was a great, you know, I'll never forget that. But just the parties and just hanging out with friends outside of class and school with no stress in the world, and just, you know, making memories that way. Like, I can call up any one of my old friends and just, you know, talk about the memories we made and all the friends I made, really, because, you know, they're my friends for the rest of my life pretty much. So pretty much that, just the people I met, the memories I made, and how I'll cherish them for a long, long time.
Yeah, the beach parties were, and I go back to when the beach parties were, I know that they had the beach parties and they were, but I went back when
We're not going to get into too detail on
No, but there used to be vehicles in the lake, and, you know, people, like the Babson Park community would show up to the beach party, and we'd have boats that never had been here before. And
one year there was a Florida State sorority that chartered a bus down. There was another year where we had a 40-foot barge with 4 kegs on it out there. There was another year where we had like 10 to 15 boats just 20 feet off Webber's Beach with beers everywhere. It was, you know, there was...
And it's amazing, those parties, they sustain their own life.
Oh yeah.
And they'd come and they'd go, and then they'd come back, and I guess they're gone now. I don't know but they were part of that Webber allure, and it was something that shaped. So I mean, I was here in the '90s, and they were, and you're talking in the 2000s, in the late, you know, mid 2010s, and that's a big span.
Oh yeah.
But you can talk to people who went here way back when. And they will bring up the beach parties.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because when you talk to people in the 80s, they talk about the fine dinners they used to have and black tie dinners and the dances. And so it's like it went through these stages. Yeah. So I think now these 2020 group, they need to figure out something that's going to
they have to
give them, whether it's a foam party on the field.
Yeah.
And then
they got to figure something
out. They got to figure out something to do.
That was the biggest party of the year. Everybody talked about it. You know, all the upperclassmen told the freshmen, hey, beach party, you got to be there. We even told. I remember there was a recruit I was helping show around. I was still playing, and I was like, hey man, you got to come back for the beach party. So.
Well, we talked about your mentor being Coach Raz, and I remember Razzle and hope he's doing well over in Dunedin with the Blue Jays and their minor league system. Why is he the mentor, or why was he your favorite mentor?
Just the energy he brought, and making sure, also he was very into detail, little detail, but he made everything we did fun. And, when it's 5:30 in the morning, you got to come work out. You don't, as a college kid, you don't want to wake up and come work out, but right when you walked in, energy's high, he made it fun and made it you want to be there, and just seeing how he worked and how he prepared and all that, it was. He led by just doing things. He didn't really say much, other than, as a strength coach trying to hype you up, but, just seeing how he prepared and how he went about things was awesome.
So football coaches are notorious for not having much time off. When you get time off, what do you like to do?
I like to go out. I'm only 25, so I do like to go out to bars here and there, but I also like to just stay at home and go fishing, go camping, and just, kind of spend time to myself, hang out with friends, and, normal, 25-year-old things.
All right. Last couple of things I want to talk about are kind of, they've kind of been on my mind, and I want to ask other coaches of, we're at Webber, we're at a small college. We all have these ideas of the athletes we want. Mm-hmm. We also know the kind of athletes that we're capable of getting regularly. What type of athlete are you looking for? That person. What is that human being like for you?
Well, it all depends on their character. What are they doing when no one's looking? How they carry themselves. Obviously they're still 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, so we know, we've all been there, but how are they in the classroom? How are they outside of the classroom? Are they, representing their school well? Are they representing their parents and family well? And when they come here, they're going to represent us well. You know what I mean? So we just want high character kids that can just go out on Saturdays and ball and, line up in front of someone and just beat them every play. So that's what we're kind of looking for.
And then on that same vein, what's your biggest pet peeve with athletes that you get on campus?
Like our current athletes?
Yeah. Hit me.
Biggest pet peeve of our current athletes? Just,
no one in particular. Just
No. Biggest pet peeve? Just, I guess their attitude. Most of them aren't too bad, but there's still a couple that, needs to change. A lot of our kids now, I don't think a handful of kids now would have survived when, early 2010s and, the conference team. But other than that, I don't think a lot of them would, just because the way they carry themselves. And I could just be me being me, but I don't know, just their attitude kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Well, just remember, as you get older, the hill that you walk to get to school and back home from school gets bigger every day. Yeah, it gets bigger. And it starts snowing later on.
Yeah, even more in Florida.
Yeah, it starts snowing and it's soft dirt and everything else. With that being said, you talked about that you don't know if they would have survived, and you talked about that changing the character. How do you find the leaders, and are those leaders always the best players? And then how do you teach that leader to lead?
You can't teach anybody to lead. It's you're either born with it or you're not. You either lead by example or you're a rah-rah guy. It doesn't matter if you're a starter or, a JV backup player. If you go in and do what you do and work and bust your ass every day and you know, eventually the hard work will pay off. People will see it and they'll be like, all right, he's doing something right. But I can't teach you to be a leader. There's no way in hell I can teach you to be a leader. I can teach you how to play football all day, but leading just comes from within.
And then, do the kids appreciate those leaders? They're never going to always like what they have to say, but do they end up appreciating those guys that turn into the leaders?
I don't think it's appreciation. I think it's more of a respect thing.
Okay.
I think it's more of like, all right, like obviously you're doing what you need to do. You're balling on the field, and so yeah. They don't have to like for example, if I was a leader, they don't have to like me, but they're gonna respect me and respect my words because I've been there. I'm doing everything right. So it doesn't matter, like I said, if you're a all conference starter or JV backup, man. If you do what you do and the respect factor's there, then.
Well, Brett talked about players coming in, leading by example, and then busting their ass. And the quote I have to kind of finish up is actually by someone who did just that, Jim Brown.
Okay.
Make sure when anyone tackles you, he remembers how much it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for an offensive guy, I always felt like, man, I would love to be, I was never fast enough, but I think it would be awesome to be a wide receiver because, like, you get to kind of move around. Mm-hmm. But I see some of the hits they take.
Oh, yeah.
And I look at the running backs, and I think as the running backs coach, you're like, yeah, you're gonna get hit. Make sure they know you got hit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I tell them, let's every play run through someone's teeth. Hey, the way our new offense is set up, our running backs are going to get hit up almost every single play. So when you do it, run through someone's teeth, man.
I really want to take this back for a moment because I'm a tennis coach. I've also done other sports, but tennis is my forte, and I love being able to talk to contact sports coaches because I can always imagine me going like, all right, dude, I want you to serve this right through his teeth. Like there's just things in our sport like we can't say like. Can you imagine the bowlers like, all right, you're gonna hit this mark, and it's a 10-pin right through their teeth. Come on, you got this. Yeah. I love football because it really is the old smash mouth game. I think basketball can be similar where you're bodying up to people and things like that. But for a lot of the coaches, we have the same desire. We just can't say it the same way.
Yeah.
Like. In that hard-nosed thing. But, Brett, it's been a pleasure. When you get a chance this year, new coaches, new coaching staff, come out and check out the turf field. It's been here for, I think it's the second year now.
Going on year 3.
On year 3.
2.5 years, yeah, something like that.
Come out, catch a game. I think probably by fall we're going to be able to start allowing fans back in. It's going to be new-look Warriors, new coaching staff, same attitude. And we look forward to seeing those running backs go through the teeth of the opponents. And we want to thank you for joining us for episode 22 of the Warrior Pulse. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.